Throughout its 13-year history, the Musser Award of Temple University's Fox School of Business has bestowed the honor on the country's top business leaders. Tonight, this special honor goes to an individual who, although soft-spoken and humble, is one of the most worthy recipients. Tonight, the Fox School of Business is honored to present the 2009 Musser Award for Excellence in Leadership to Daniel H. Polett.
I think the leadership starts with him listening. You know, Dan is not someone who shoots from the hip. He is someone who asks for input. He will be collaborative in trying to come to a solution to a problem, but he's decisive. And when Dan makes up his mind and we start to pursue a particular line of action, then he is a leader who looks forward and not back. He's been a great mentor in his leadership style and his thoughtful approach to problems, and in the depth that he cares about Temple.
There was no agenda with Dan. Everything was from the heart. His brain worked well on solving problems, but he was always considerate to everybody in the room. He was respectful of other people's opinions. He was kind in his compliments to the staff and the administration, the faculty. And when I watched that, I thought to myself, there's a whole lot I could learn from Dan Polett in the way I've conducted my life.
One of the things that impresses me so much about him is that people around him, such as those that I've seen in his business, because I have been a customer and am a customer, that they reflect him. They reflect all that he expects of us who work under him as trustees at Temple University. He brings the concern for the consumer, who here are our students, to this university.
Dan is a uniter. Dan is a person who brings people together on a very, very personal level in order to pursue and achieve incredible goals. And I think that he will be known forever as a real uniter and person builder.
He would be rather quiet at a board meeting, but then would enter into the conversation with some very seasoned remarks that sort of hit the nail on the head and reflected his good judgment.
I rate him as one of the most outstanding persons that I've ever dealt with in 55 years of service in the government, federal and municipal levels, in higher education, and in the military.
Dan is an incredible source of introductions, friendships, and opportunities. He, for me, was the very first person who said, I need to take you to lunch to meet so-and-so. And it was all very much a part of helping me become a part of the Philadelphia community and to be successful as a Temple president, and also in a very personal way to make me feel like I was a part of the city.
When you watch all the persons who work for him, you see Mr. Polett. That's a very, very difficult thing to accomplish as a manager or a leader. It is the optimum, in my opinion, of success.
When I think of Dan, I think of service with a smile. That's the trademark of his agency, the Wilkie Buick agency at that time on North Broad Street. And service there was impeccable, and that was just reflected his personality and how he wanted to run the operation.
As long as I've worked for Dan, he's always had an open door policy, and he's always placed a strong emphasis on getting to know his employees and getting to know what their needs are.
Dan is a good friend of mine, and he's a boss, but he's a good friend. He's an honest, very honest person. He's generous and very kind and caring. And what I mean by caring is anybody could ask Dan Polett If they had a problem, he would be there.
Mr. Polett's the type of person that if you needed something, he would be the first one to help you.
Always comes up, no matter how busy he is, pats you on your back, shakes your hand. How's Tina? How's the kids? How are you? No matter how busy he is, no matter who he has with him, always stops, makes you feel really important.
Dan and Margot exemplify the same values in their family as he did in his business and as he did at the hospital.
Dan and Margot is what makes Dan capable of supporting and doing all that he does for Temple University. And she's an inspiration for all of us. She is a woman of great strength, and that comes through in Dan and how Dan relates to people as well. You can see that as you get to know Margot better and you spend time with both of them. She's a tremendous asset, a real partner, an enviable relationship.
How does somebody possess those character traits in a world where I haven't seen that terribly often? And I think Dan would tell you that a lot of that comes from good parenting in his lifetime and from an incredible relationship with Margot that's always been a backstop for him in whatever course of life he's pursued.
Well, the tailgate party evolved out of the automobile show, and the tailgate party is a party that's held the night before the auto show starts. It benefits Children's Hospital tremendously. So each year, hundreds of thousands of dollars are raised for the Children's Hospital. I think thanks to Dan, it was his idea and his backing, convincing the auto dealers that this was a good idea. Now the auto dealers support Children's Hospital in other ways, not only the tailgate party, but they make major donations over the years and keep doing this on an ongoing basis. So we're their major beneficiary.
With Dan, he approaches philanthropy like he approaches all things in his life. He is a man devoid of ego in the normal, natural, competitive world. And he's a man overloaded with integrity. He will make the right decision regardless of his personal financial interests. I mean, he really loves Temple University.
One day I get a call from this man named Dan Polett who says, Sister Mary, we have to do something for this gentleman who's living at 15th and Spring Garden. What can we do? So he said to me, it breaks my heart on these bitter, bitter cold days. I'm coming out of my business and I see this man just sleeping on this vent and I can't stand it. We have to do something. So Dan proceeds to help him get some food, puts him up in a hotel, talks to him about getting employment and eventually hires him. And Dan did not stop until, as you can see today, and for many, many years, Barry is living in a place and not on this vent and is healthier, happier, and back in the mainstream of our society. Dan just didn't really literally save this man's life, but he gave him life. And as usual, this is all done, under the radar screen. Most people would never know that this ever happened. Thanks to Dan Polett, we have one less person living on our streets and one more person who has a wonderful place to call home, a job, and a great life.
Dan's steadfast commitment to serving those in need has been a hallmark of his life. His charitable giving and tremendous generosity to the church and the community at large have made our region a better place for many. I'm especially grateful for Dan's longtime leadership and support of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia annual Christmas party for children. I express my appreciation to Dan for not only spreading joy through the Christmas party, but for raising funds to help improve the lives of hundreds of thousands of children and families in Catholic social services programs throughout the Archdiocese.
There was There's crates and like skids of food that showed up at the dealership here. Everyone pitched in and really worked hard the whole morning, one day, just packing these baskets and bags rather, and the whole side of this shop right here was full of food. And then we had the parts department just pack the trucks up and deliver to all who they were going to.
Dan is a man of very deep faith, and he lives his faith every day. Consequently, being generous is a natural thing for Dan and Margot Polett, and they are the most generous people on a regular basis with their time and their resources that you could possibly ever hope to be. They really set the example for everyone else. When you're committed to causes and you're committed to doing good things in the world, you do it quietly and religiously and systematically.
Dan's legacy is in his ability to bring diverse, intelligent people together to try and solve a problem or to benefit Temple University. I think his legacy is in the new buildings that you see growing here, in the new medical school up at the Temple Health System campus. His vision of what will it be when the people who are around the table aren't here and others will take the baton of leadership. That forward thinking, I think, is the legacy of Dan Polett.
It's all about integrity for Dan, all about integrity. And I say that knowing that he sold a lot of used cars in his life.
May God continue to bless Dan and Margot for all they do.
Congratulations, Mr. Polett!
Tonight, the Fox School of Business is honored to present the 2009 Musser Award for Excellence in Leadership to Daniel H. Polett.